Hello and welcome to this video presentation on how to use the 247 time system. Here we're going to show you how to use it in respect of direct engagement. We'll show you how to log in and change your passwords. We'll show you how to add candidate information into their profile and then use that to assign them to job roles. We'll then show you how to manage timesheet. That's a weekly process that you need to do in order to add the hours and upload evidence. And we've got two ways of doing that. We're going to show you both ways in this video presentation. Following that, we'll show you how to then add in any historical timesheets that you may need, and then show you how to find out weekly trading, and then finally your theory test. That is how to then gain a username and password to gain access to the system. So as you can see there from the virtual circle, it starts with a trust requiring a worker from yourselves, and then you'll go in. If the candidate's not already assigned into the system, you'll go in, create a profile for them and add in any of the documentation that a trust requires, and the candidate then goes away and works at the trust. Following that weekly work, you'll then go in and add the timesheet information. So that's basically adding any BRNs, any hours that they've worked, and upload a copy of their timesheet. And then an approver from a trust will go in and approve that and say, yes, I'm happy with that. And as a result of that, we do what's called a consolidation, which then triggers payments. And that is that the payment will go directly to the worker for their pay, and your margin, your finder's fee, your commission will be sent by the trust as a separate payment. And then we start again with that virtual circle. So what we have is a very simple process, and it's a methodical process, and the same process applies for each and every trust. So before we go into the system, just a few words about information governance. First and foremost is your username and password are assigned to you and you only. So we do not allow password sharing, so it's really important that you do keep your information safe and secure. And where appropriate, you are required as part of the process to upload documentation from your candidate into their profile, and you should have already obtained candidate's permission to do so. You'll see that there are a number of screens where you can download information from 247 time to your device. It's really important then that you do keep that information safe and secure, and we all hear stories of where memory sticks and CDs have been left on buses and trains, and the consequences of that getting out into the public domain can be far reaching. So really important that you do keep that information secure. Importantly as well, you must comply with the Information Commissioner's Office Data Protection Act. We do as well. And in that respect, in terms of the NHS, you can only use 247 time whilst you're standing on UK soil. So you can't outsource this process to any other third party or any other country. It has to be within the UK and specifically by your business and your business only. And just a final reassurance from ourselves that we do not trade or sell your information to anybody else. 247 time is basically just a means of getting information from your candidate and yourselves to the trust, and vice versa. So let's look in and see how you log in. So first and foremost is log in at time2.247time.co.uk, and you can log in on any device that's connected to the internet. And we have people that connect on smartphones, iPads, Android tablet devices, as well as traditional PCs and laptops. So long as you've got an internet connection, you can get connectivity through to the system. One thing we do recommend is that you do keep up to date with your browsers. We have some compatibility issues with older browsers, so really important to keep that safe and secure. If you do need to get hold of us, you can get hold of us at support@247time.co.uk, and we operate a ticket-based system, and we find that works better for you as well as better for us. And when you email in a request, you'll get a ticket back that says, thank you very much, we acknowledge that we've received your query and here is your ticket number. So if you ever do need to call us after our SLA, that's our service level agreement, which is at the moment currently 6 hours, we'll respond to you by that time as a first response. But if you do need to get hold of us outside of that, we will invariably ask you for your ticket number, so it's useful to have your ticket number to hand, which will be in the reply email. And if you do need to get hold of us, the telephone number is 0333 1014 247. So logging in, just a question of logging in with a username and password, and I'll show you later on how to get access to those. Anything you can see here that you need to enter or retrieve is in blue. So forgotten usernames and forgotten passwords, clicking on those will do exactly as they say on the tin. But having entered a username and password, you then click on log in. Having now logged in, it brings you through to the dashboard, and the dashboard is our means of conveying information that we think is important for you to see, and you can click on any of the messages by just clicking on the blue subject line, and you can look at older ones as well. You'll see the top black navigation bar, and if you think of this as the drawers in a filing cabinet, this is where you're going to go to store and retrieve certain aspects of information. But when you first log in to 247 Time, what we'll ask you to do is accept our end user license agreement, and that's a once-off thing. But we'll ask you to go in and change your password to something that's more memorable to you. And the way you do that is clicking on settings here on the right hand side. That brings you through to the settings screens, and you type in the password that they're giving you and then the passwords that you want to use from there on in, and click on modify, and that then becomes your password from there on in all the way through. So now let's go in and have a look at candidates. I've taken the liberty here of snapping two screens in one. Normally what you'll see is screen A, and here you're just presented with a empty box, and you can type in Fred Blogs and click on search, and up will come Fred Blogs. Or you can type in Fred, click on search, and up will come all your Freds, or blogs, and up will come all your blogs. So very, very simple process. But if you leave it blank and click on search, what you'll see is screen B. And screen B, you can click any of the columns here to then go and sort it all into any particular order that you wish. But to go in and have a look at a candidate, you just click on the blue to retrieve their details, and you can go in and amend any information, for example a telephone number, or upload some new evidence that a trust may require. Here down at the bottom is export to Excel, and that's where you can download information to your device. So in this case it will download all of your candidate data into one CSV file that you can use into any third-party system or manipulate as you wish. But we're going to now go in and register a new candidate, so you click on the register candidate icon here, and I've zoomed in here. This is the top half of the candidate screen, and I'll show you the bottom half in a second. But you can see here NI number. Really important that you take time to enter the correct NI number, because it's the one thing on a candidate profile you can never change, because NI numbers never change. So really important to enter it correctly. You'll see your agency name, and you type in the information for your candidate, clicking in male or female, as the some trusts require that, as a lot of names now are gender neutral, so they want to know whether it's a male or female. The address is here. If it's pay as you earn candidate, you just put in the home address. For limited companies, you put the limited company address in here, and that's because here is what will spit out on the invoice, or what will spit out on the pay slip. So limited companies, their address, pay as you earn, home address, postcode, telephone number and email as normal. The bottom half then is how your candidate is going to be managed. So what you can do is click on payroll type, click on enter. So you'll either pick limited company or pay as you earn. If you select limited company, these grey boxes here become live. So what you then do is enter the company name, the company number, the registration number. Really important, if the doctor's registered for VAT or the candidate's registered for VAT, that you put the VAT number in here. If you fail to do so, the doctor will not have VAT added to their invoice. So really important that you do put the VAT number in here. Click that the IR35 compliant, and then here, documents and qualifications. In the main, this relates to pay-as-you-earn candidates, or it may be, for example, a limited company contract. But each trust is different in terms of what they require. So you can go onto the support website, click on the relevant trusts page, and you can see what documentation is required and download blank copies of those that the doctor then can complete, or your candidate can complete, and you upload those here as concerned. And at the bottom, it relates to how does your candidate wish to get paid, either through BACS or by cheque. We still have the odd person that wants to be paid by cheque, but in the main we tend to see it's BACS. So click in the payment method, and again, when it's BACS, you input the bank account details in there. So very simple. So let's have a look at job codes. Before I go in and show you how to find a job, very important that you understand that there are different types of job codes that the NHS uses. They are trying to get it standardised, but you can have neighbouring trusts that will call one job one thing and exactly the same job in a neighbouring trust called something else. So really important to understand the job codes that each trust uses, and again we provide copies of that on the support website in order then that helps you as an agency establish what each trust is actually using. So for example here, a speciality registrar at Barts and St George's is an SPR, whereas at Coventry and Warwickshire it's an ST3. So in the main, what you're looking for, as you can see here, is the grade of the job skill that a person is, and then you'll put space and then your agency name. Barts is so large that they have location codes as well, but in the main that's how you're looking for jobs to enter into 247 time. So let's have a look and see how you do that in real life. So what you do is click on jobs, type in the skill grade and then your agency name. If the trust has given you the cost code, then you can enter that in here as well, and that will then save time because it will then narrow down your search. But then you click on search. So you can see here that in terms of the jobs, is you can see ASP and your agency name, and you can see the department then where you can assign your doctor to. So it's just a question of finding the department. Once you've found the department, you click on the blue. In the case where trusts may pay a doctor more for working at the department than any other doctor, that's called an exception rate. Very rare now in terms of the TDA and monitor rulings, but where that's the case, we will assign a special job code for you to assign your candidate to. So basically that is important then, that if you do have an exception rate, to let us know and we'll create a job for you. Let's just show you another example. Here with Coventry and Warwick, it's exactly the same thing, ST3 and your agency name, and you type in the detail in here, and again you've got the departments where your candidate will be working. So click on the blue to assign your candidate to the correct department. Having done that, then you can see that when you start to click on the blue, it comes up with the trust, the department, and you can click on assigned candidates. And we can see here we've got 2 candidates already working in that department from your agency already. So you can have 1 person working there or 100, it doesn't really matter. There's that export to Excel again, and what we're going to do is assign a new candidate to the role. So what you do is click on assign new candidate, and up comes your candidates, and you only see your candidates only. You don't see any other agencies, it's only your candidates, obviously under data protection rules. You can type in Fred Bloggs here, click on search, and up will come Fred Bloggs. Or you can scroll through the list of your candidates here to find the candidate. When you found them, all you do is click on select, And the very final screen to assign a candidate is you'll see your agency name. Select the branch that you're supplying from. You may be a one branch operation or you may be part of a multiple chain. So select the branch that you're supplying from and it will confirm the job, national insurance and the candidate name. AWR we're not using at the moment for NHS, and that may come in the future, we don't know, but at the moment that will always be 0. The start date of the candidate, and if you know the end date and you're confident with the end date, then you can put an end date here in and that candidate will be terminated off the roll. If you're not sure that that end date is actually going to be the end date, and we see examples of where a trust will come on and say, well, we need your candidate this week and we may need them the week after and possibly a few days the following week. If you're not 100% sure that that candidate is actually going to finish on that particular day, then leave it blank and your candidate will remain on that timesheet until one of two things actually happen. Either you go in and terminate them off the roll yourself, or nothing happens to them for 6 weeks, in which case the system will keep the timesheets nice and tidy and clear them off. And then all you do is click save and close, and that's it. That's your candidate assigned to a job role. You see that 247 Time is predominantly a point and click system. It's very clear, very systematic and very methodical. So once you've done it a few times, you'll find it very, very easy to follow through on each of these processes as we do them. So I'm going to show you now how to manage your timesheets, and we've basically got two ways of doing that. That's the single rate timesheet and the multiple rate timesheets. We are moving everybody over to multiple rate timesheets, but for convenience I'm going to show you the two rates, the two processes that we have, in order that you understand exactly how they work. So a single rate is basically where you have a job that may be a nurse or a doctor working in a ward on a day rate, and the same or a different rate applies if they work overnight. So what you'll then do is go and assign them to both the day rate job and the night rate job and put the hours in for each job code accordingly. Multiple rate means that you just put the hours in and the system automatically attributes to whether that should be a night rate or a day rate. So let's show you how first it works with single rate. So to go in once a week, we expect you to go into the timesheets and add the information in for the candidate of the hours that they've worked. So you do that by selecting the trust and the department where your candidate work, and again what you see is your candidates and your candidates only. So you can see here John Test. If the trust uses BRNs, and again you can get that information from the support website, you'll put the BRN numbers in here. Really important that you use correct BRNs. Don't make them up or the timesheet won't be approved. So the BRNs must match and they must be correct. So you add the BRNs in there. It'll show you your agency name, the job code, and again here what you can see here is the hours that a candidate has worked. So if it's 5.5 hours, you'll put 5.5 hours, so we'll decimalize it. You can do it down to the minute if you want to, but every 15 minutes is sufficient. So if John Test was working at a job role for a day rate, then you'll put in the hours for the day rate. Equally, you'll have them assigned to the night rate job, and you'll put in the hours for the night rate, and the system will pay accordingly to the hours then that you've put in. Very rare, but bonuses and expenses. You can put bonuses and expenses in here. Notes is a really important part of the process here. If there's something here that you want to notify to the trusts about this candidate for that particular week, you can add the information into notes. Otherwise, again, we will train the approvers, if they're not going to approve that week or they have some issue with your candidate, to put some information into the notes section here, and you can click on unapproved and click on search, and it will bring up all of the candidates that have been unapproved for this department for that particular week, and you can go in and have a look at the notes and take any remedial action required. So every time you have a query about a timesheet or something that has a problem about a candidate not being paid, first thing you need to do is always go in and have a look at the notes. And then what we ask you to do is just upload a copy of the evidence. So the evidence could be your evidence, it could be the department's evidence, or it could be a generic trust timesheet. It doesn't really matter. What we're looking for here is the name of the doctor, the department, the hours that they worked, that the doctor signed it, and somebody from the department has signed it as well, because the approver may be a separate person. And this could be a PDF, it could even be a photograph of a timesheet. It doesn't really matter, so long as it's clear enough and displays the information required, then it will be acceptable. And then all you do is click on save, and you'll do that for each of your candidates that's working at a trust in a particular department, and that's a once a week thing. So that's the only thing that you need to do. Having signed a candidate into the system, uploaded their documents and assigned them to the job, they're once off things, but once a week you need to go in and upload the timesheet information accordingly to make sure that your candidate gets paid on. So here's the multiple rate one, very similar, but what you see here is you've got a split in the department. So all you do to add the hours is click on edit hours, and then all you do is you've got a day for every day of the week, is click on the left hand side of your mouse and then drag the bar across, and it fills in the hours. And again, the system will automatically attribute day rate or unsocial hours, night rate, to the relevant hours that are worked. But of course you have to put in breaks. What you do breaks is then click on the mouse at where the point of the break is and click it from right to left, and it then unmarks it, so it then puts a break in the hours. And then you can either apply that to the next day or just go down to the next day and put all the hours in accordingly. So again, very, very simple process, and then just click on save. And again, the same thing applies, putting in BRN numbers, uploading a copy of the evidence, and obviously please remember to save as well. And there's the export to Excel as well. You can do this for each of your candidates and then just click once, save all changes, or just click save as you go. So basically that's how to put the hours in. Just show you now the timetable, because the timetable is an important part of the process. It is a weekly timetable. So for example, week 1 is where the doctor will register at your agency. You'll upload the information into their profile, and then the candidate will then go and work away at a trust, which is what we call week 2. So it's then the following week the activity surrounds updating the timesheet information. So what you'll do then is by Tuesday, typically at 5 PM, and again we recommend that you tell your candidates Monday, is that you'll go in and add the information required by the trusts into that timesheet function. And again, by telling your candidates it's a Monday, you just build an extra day into the process. So if you do get candidates that for one reason or other can't give it to you on the Monday, at least you've got an extra day built into it. So again, what we're looking for is BRNs, hours that the candidates worked, and a copy of the timesheet as well. And typically on a Wednesday by 5 PM, the trust approvers will go in and say, yes, I'm happy with that, or not, as the case may be, and put some information in notes, and then click OK to the timesheet to approve it, and then consolidation happens typically the following week. And I'm saying typically because again, each trust does have their own particular timetable, and you can get payments details on the trust's page within the support website. It'll tell you what the timetable is for each of the trusts, depending on whether a candidate is pay as you earn or a limited company candidate. And again, your commission, your finder's fee, will come through as a separate payment as part of the process. So what happens if you've got a candidate that isn't being paid, or you realise that you haven't put them on the system and they've been working at a trust for a week or two? Well, obviously you'll have a very unhappy candidate because they won't have been paid, but we need to have a way of rectifying it. You can go in and add in up to 4 weeks previously yourself and then put the information in. So let's just show you how you do that. So first and foremost is go to your candidates page, bring up your candidate's profile, and at the very bottom it shows their role. Click on the blue for the job that they're doing, and then all you need to do is click on add historic timesheet. So click on that and then click on the dates, and again you can have up to 4 weeks, so that's the Sunday dates, it's the week ending dates we're looking for here, and then click on add. And then when you do that, you'll see a line there in the timesheet that's in yellow, and we colour it yellow to show that it is a historic timesheet. So you could have typically an approver going in and approving the current week where the candidate's working, but equally approve previous as well. So really important that we distinguish what's a current week from a previous week. Go to the week in question and then just fill in the information as you would have done had it been the current week. So that's the BRNs if required, copy the hours and upload a copy of the evidence. And what the approver will then do is go in and approve not only the current week but any other historic weeks as well. So the next payment run that comes through, everything then catches up. The only other issue that we have, and again we don't expect you to remember this, but I just want to show you this in terms of what you can actually do, is adjust hours. So anytime you see a timesheet then that shows hours that for one reason or another, bizarre as it is, we do get issues where this can be wrong, where a candidate says, look, I had a timesheet that showed I worked 10 hours, but actually I did work 12. How do you remedy it? Well, obviously you need to upload new copies of evidence, but you can click in and adjust hours, and then once you click in hours, then you can make any adjustments required. So if this showed a 10, you could click and put 2 in here, and that will add an extra 2 to that day's pay. So the next payment run that's made, the doctor will get an extra 2 hours pay. But again, obviously upload a copy of the new evidence to support that, and again put that in notes as well. Very rare, but I just wanted to show you what that actually is. So having run consolidation, it then triggers a line in the sand to say this is what payments are going to be made for on that particular week, and you need to know some information surrounding that. So you could do that by clicking on invoices, and you'll see a line for every trust that you deal with, and that line every week will contain 2 pieces of information. If you click on invoice file, it will show you your invoice for commissions, and hopefully that will be for tens of thousands of pounds. It shows a net amount, VAT where applicable, and a gross amount. So you're going to want to know how is that broken down, and you can do that by clicking on data file. Then you can see here that it downloads to your device a CSV file that contains enough information for you to shake a stick at. You can turn this upside down, inside out. It contains everything. The beauty of 247 Time is it's an open and transparent system, so that basically you can see this at any particular moment in time. You can go on and have a look at it. It's what we see, it's what the trusts see. But having said that, again to just show you some issues that we find that stops your candidates being paid. So I just want to show you 3 simple reasons. Really important that the candidate profile is completed accurately. You know, missing addresses, missing documents that are required by a trust will stop the candidate being paid. Important that you as an agency do fill out the candidate profile correctly. Make sure that each and every time anything that's required by a trust is in their profile. Secondly, make sure you assign them to the right job, and make sure you do assign them to a job as well. You know, we have instances where people even have done this training, don't assign the candidates to job roles. So really important that they appear on the timesheets. Otherwise, if you don't assign them to the right job, they won't appear. And last but not least is make sure that the timesheet information is completed, and that we mean by BRNs, the hours that the doctor's worked, and equally important here, a copy of the evidence where it shows that the doctor signed it, as well as somebody from a department. If you do that, then there shouldn't be any issue about payments going through. But having said that, we're all human. What happens if you have a query? Well, first and foremost, go in and have a look at the support website and look at the trust information and see if there's anything there that throws out that you haven't done. And obviously take any action required in order to remedy that as well. Having done that, then what we expect you to do is go and have a look at your candidate's journey all the way through the system. Find out if there's something that you're actually missing, and make sure then that is corrected. Go in and have a look at the timesheet and have a look at the notes and see if there's anything there in notes that the approver's put in that you may have missed, and obviously again take any remedial action required. And last but not least is, if you're still struggling and you can't find any reason why that candidate has been paid, and you can see everything is done correctly, then email us and we will then intercede on your behalf and establish why the payments haven't been made. Other than that, that should give you a confident view on how to use and operate the 247 time system. But we realise sometimes there are times when you want to go in and have a refresh. So that's where the support website, you can click in here on training and go in and have a look at these different videos. There are also videos there that are short snapshots of different aspects on how to use the system. But once you've actually viewed this video in full, what you can then do is take the theory test. And this is a sample questions from a bank of questions, and so long as you attain 85%, then we will be quite happy to give you a username and password, and that will automatically then come through to you. And that's basically how to use the 247 time system. So there's the important links at the bottom of the screen, and thanks very much for your time.